Hi there, this is Talia from Ayurveda Every Day with Talia and founder of the Nourish Your Body with Ayurveda Bootcamp. Welcome, I'm so happy that you're watching. Today I am talking about why seasonal eating and food as medicine is your key to vitality. And I did a Facebook Live about this very topic yesterday inside my Facebook group Ayurveda Every Day with Talia. So if you're not in there, join because I'm doing a series of Ayurveda master classes this week all about seasonal eating and how you can feel your best when you know how to balance your body with food and Ayurvedic practices all year long, but especially right now in the fall season. And so I'm going to jump into today's Facebook Live for you. And I just want to start, I've got some notes down here in case you see me looking down. When seasons change, that's when we're the most vulnerable, physically, emotionally, psychically, and especially that transition from summer to fall. We're more vulnerable than ever. We're coming off a season where we're really out there and we're expending our energy. We've got solar energy in the summer. We're staying up really late because, well, not staying up late necessarily, but you might. But definitely the days being longer has a big impact on our psyche and our physical being versus as days are getting shorter, the call is really to go more inward, and it's hard to find that slowing down at this time of year. And Ayurveda says that it's essential that we do. So, it's easy to feel uprooted, out of balance, prey to random illness. And these shifts that are happening, they're internal, they're also external. So I want to share a few of my favorite Ayurvedic wellness tips with you today. And I'm going to start with something. Hey, Wendy. So if you're from Australia and you're going into spring, a lot of what I'm talking about, it still applies to you, but we're just on the polar opposite spectrum of what you need nutritionally, with the exception being that you still need to root to the earth. And I was listening to a talk by Kate Stillman this morning in her cleanse program I'm a part of. And she was saying, when you just look outside your window and you see what nature is doing, do that. So it's a little different for the southern hemisphere than it is for the northern, which is kind of a little bit more of what I'm teaching today. But I'm stoked that you're watching, so glad that you're here. But what I want to share is to really not fight the stream. And what I mean by that is don't fight the stream of what nature is showing you is happening. And I'm not saying it as well as I want to, but if you do look outside your window and you see what's happening in nature and you try to be like, no, that's not really happening, that's fighting the stream. And so really allowing yourself in the fall to go inward a little bit more and find ways to slow down, especially if you're somebody who gets stressed around the holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. I know for me, I've been single lots of years for the holidays, and my family is spread all over the country, and sometimes it's a really kind of scary, lonely time, and I'll get anxiety about what should I do. And so these practices have helped me so much to just really stay present and be in my body and be like, you know what, the universe has my back. I'm going to be okay no matter what. So I'm just going to stay right here with myself. So that brings me to my first point, which is if you can, when you can, I know you can, I want you to meditate, because there's nothing that gets you more in your seat, in your root, than a seated meditation. And that can be seated on the floor with a couple blankets propping your sit bones up behind you. It can be sitting on the floor, sitting in a chair and feeling your feet firmly planted on the floor. But get your root planted, and that will help huge as you move forward with the season. And also, if you can move your lymph, that is amazingly helpful, because when we go into emotional states like anxiety or even depression, the body seizes up a little bit. We get stagnant in a bunch of different ways, and there's lots of different ways that stagnancy expresses itself in manifest form. Sometimes it's getting really dry, sometimes it's gaining weight and getting really heavy, and sometimes it's being paralyzed by emotional states. I don't know if you can hear my cat, but she's like attacking her scratching pad right now. So to move your lymph, the most popular and wonderful Ayurvedic practice for that is to rub oil into your skin, from your feet to your heart and from your hands to your heart. I just wrote a really cool blog about it just like last week or the week before. So go to my website to read more about how to do that. It's called Abhyanga. And one thing I love about Abhyanga is that word is the same word, I believe it's in Sanskrit, for oil as it is for love. So it's truly a self-love practice. And then another thing I want to share with you in terms of using food as medicine and using it as your key to vitality is to eat root vegetables. And so going to Wendy, who's in Australia in the Southern Hemisphere, you are going to have different root vegetables available to you right now. Yours are going to be like spring onions and garlic and leeks. And here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's more like sweet potato, red potato, parsnip, carrot, beet, celery root, fennel root. So dive in and get those roots in your body, especially if you tend to have sweet cravings. The root vegetables are a complex sweet carbohydrate. They grow below the earth. They've got lots of water, lots of fiber, and they ground you. So I love that Ayurveda is so literal with the energetics and elements of food. Anything that grows below the earth is going to help you get closer to the earth. So root vegetables are a huge key to using the season as a guide for, my cat is like insane right now, as a guide for, eating for vitality. And then another thing I wanted to share is, seasonal eating can really help you clear brain fog. And brain fog can be the cause of a lot of different things. We just got in a debate about this on my Ayurveda Everyday with Talia Facebook group. So, it can be related to sinus congestion, that if you run dry or it's really dry outside, like it is in the Northern Hemisphere right now, you could have a lot of sinus buildup, respiration, like blockages, and not even totally know it. You could just be like, God, I don't feel well, and I'm kind of foggy. I'm not thinking straight. I don't feel clear. I don't feel open. But if it's dry, it's harder to feel than when it's just like mucus coming out. And your respiratory system is a direct sister system to your digestive system. So when you eat with the seasons and you are following the stream of what nature is calling you towards, you improve your digestion. And when you improve your digestion, you really do improve your respiratory system as well, which means you take deeper breaths. You're more able to clear excess phlegm or mucus or just dryness up here, can get more hydration and nourishment to be able to filter out and flush through your body. I'm going to teach more about that in my other master classes this week. So if you don't already belong to Ayurveda Everyday with Talia, jump into that Facebook group, because that's where I'm doing the bulk of my videos this week. And I've got another one tomorrow, Thursday at noon Pacific, and one on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific, and they're really going to be worth watching. So, last thing I want to share today is my number one weight loss tip, and it actually doesn't have to do with losing weight. It's about hydrating your body and resting properly. Thanks for the like. Rest in Ayurveda is actually a form of hydration. And hydration is a huge topic. It's something that I cover in my seasonal cleanse programs in great detail. But most of us in this culture, in this day and age, with so much technology, and I don't exclude myself from this, we are dehydrated. We're moving too fast. We get speed caught in our tissues, which is beautifully said by my teacher, T.S. Little. And it's really hard to get speed out of your tissues once it's in there. So this is a consistent practice of finding deep rest and not always pushing yourself past the edge, like really knowing when is enough. And honestly, that helps you to know when you've eaten enough. A lot of times we overeat because we're looking for energy, and or we're looking to soothe ourselves because we've pushed so hard that we don't have any more emotional kind of buffer or pad, and we're looking to food to provide that for us. And what happens is we just don't feel well, and then we're really bummed, and now we're like, ugh, I'm like heavy and I don't want to feel heavy. Hey, Amy. So that's a big tip, and I'm going to be talking more about that as well in my Facebook Lives this week in Ayurveda Everyday with Talia. It's a free group. It's super fun. Such a cool community of mostly women. So please join. Now, one thing I want to say in my last thing I'm going to say in this live today is, you know, the way I found Ayurveda is I was diagnosed with psoriasis. This was in my late 20s. I had gone to become a yoga teacher. I broke out one morning all over my body in welts and rashes. I had an itchy anus that was out of control. Sorry if that's TMI. But it was extreme, and I was very scared. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't believe what was happening. And I knew that I needed to find a healer or a healing path. I stumbled upon Ayurveda. This is the super short version of this story. And I started eating for my body type. I started eating for the season. The Facebook group is called Ayurveda Everyday with Talia. So Wendy, if you just search for that, you'll find it. You can't miss it. But I started moving my lymphatic system, and pretty miraculously within 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I had lost 10 pounds that I had been carrying for over 10 years, and that no amount of starving myself, binging, purging, or dieting or over-exercising had even moved an inch. I was warmer in my body, my hormones regulated, I was in a better mood. It was so significant that I was just like, wow, like I can't wait to know everything about this science. And I had no idea I would end up doing it as my livelihood. At that time, I wanted to be a yoga teacher, and I am, so that's great. But it really just, the healing I experienced was so dramatic that I really moved forward with it. And, you know, that first dramatic healing was not the end of it for me. There was so much more that came as I stayed consistent and persistent with Ayurveda and with my self-care practices, in particular, the way that I eat. And so I'm super passionate about sharing with you all the tips and tricks and practices that I know and that I am so confident about working, that I would just love to keep talking to you about it. So join my Facebook group, Ayurveda Everyday with Talia. I'll see you in there ASAP. In fact, if you want to see the little master class that I taught yesterday, that's much more, it's longer and bigger than this one. You can see it in the video section. And yeah, I would love for you to be there. So Amy, thank you so much. I love you. I'm just going to read what Amy wrote. She's a dear friend of mine. You are such a presence in this world, girl. And you reduced my skin spot significantly with Ayurveda. Yeah, she had some skin cancer going on, and we went to town on it with Ayurveda, and so that's awesome. Yay. Plus she lost weight when she did it, and she looked amazing, and she felt better. So that can be true for you too. Join me, Ayurveda Everyday with Talia, and I'll see you there. Bye.